On the edge of a forest, a long time ago, there stood a mighty oak tree. If you've watched one of my other videos, you'll remember that some trees can live for hundreds of years, sometimes thousands of years, and this oak tree was one of those. It was definitely ancient. Its roots dug deep into the ground, its bark was gnarled, and its branches soared up into the sky. One day, a very cheeky squirrel climbed to the end of one of the branches and took one of the tree's acorns. It scurried out of the tree, out of the forest, to the edge of a meadow, and there it buried the acorn underground in a secret spot to eat at some point in the winter. But the squirrel forgot about the acorn, didn't find it again. So when spring arrived, our little acorn began to push its way out of the ground and reach up towards the sky. Through the following spring and summer, the acorn was very frustrated. The things growing beside it seemed to grow and sprout up in a blink of an eye. Ferns, flowers, animals. Have you seen how quickly ducklings can grow up? It didn't seem fair, but our acorn was growing, just very slowly. When winter arrived, it hit cold and hard, and the sapling almost stopped growing altogether. The days were short and dark, and it wasn't until the spring that the sapling began to grow again, very slowly. Year by year went by, and the small sapling slowly grew into a small tree, not forgetting to put down deep roots too. But there were other trees growing around the oak which were taller, and this made the oak feel quite jealous. However, one blustery autumn evening, a terrible storm ripped across the land from the north, and most of those taller trees toppled down to the ground like dominoes. But our oak tree stood strong and firm. The years rolled into decades, and the decades built up into centuries, and our oak slowly grew into a mighty tree, with a trunk thicker than any other tree for many miles around. In that time, as the mighty oak's roots went deeper and deeper into the ground, the oak grew out of its jealousy and frustration from its sapling years and into a deep wisdom. It saw many things, kings and queens come and go, famines, floods, and also hundreds of squirrels taking its acorns across the width of the forest. Now the story brings us very much close in time to us now, when a village had popped up near the edge of the forest. In this village there lived a little girl, and this little girl built herself a rope swing from the lower branches of the oak tree. She had her own troubles in life, which can be told in another story, so every day after finishing school, she would come up to the oak tree and swing back and forth under the branches. When she finished, she'd jump off, put her back against the gnarled bark of the tree, look up at the towering branches, and think about how deep the roots might go down. Through the whole of her life, that little girl visited the tree, swinging on her swing underneath the branches, talking to it, as if the tree was talking back to her. I don't know whether the tree did talk to her, but somehow it definitely taught her this: do not be afraid of growing slowly, only afraid of standing still. Whenever the little girl did feel frustrated, jealous, or troubled later in her life, she remembered the old oak tree, and she felt her roots grow deeper too.